Hi, hello, hello. Welcome to NeuroSavvy Live. I am your host, Keyshawn Hughes. I'm a certified neuroleadership consultant and coach, and I established NeuroSavvy. Hold on one second. Okay. I'm trying something new today. I want to see all the comments that are up. So I have several screens in front of me right now. So forgive me. I'm Keyshawn Hughes. My name is, I'm Keyshawn Hughes. My company is NeuroSavvy Leadership. And I founded NeuroSavvy Leadership and the concept about 5 years ago. During the pandemic, I was newly pivoting my career from marketing and product management into coaching and leadership consulting based on my own 20 plus career that I had, 20 plus year career that I had in corporate leadership. And hi, Laura. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad to see you, Laura Kriska, everyone. We did a consulting program together. So I'm so happy to see you here for me to talk about this topic today. And the topic is building confidence in AI for women. Building confidence in AI for women. It's so funny and it's so fitting that Laura is here joining me from the consulting program we both did, because it was during that time that I was introduced to AI. So I've been doing or having my hands in different kinds of AI tools since 2022. So for 3+ years now. And what sparked me to have this idea, because I feel very comfortable using AI. And I was finding myself in rooms and in conversations with other professional women, other women who own businesses, other women who have jobs of all sorts of different levels, who didn't trust AI. They had different levels of confidence in AI. It could be for lots of different reasons, but they weren't utilizing it in the way that I was. And what I found is there could potentially be a confidence gap. When I did the research, I'm a researcher at heart. I'm very curious, very curious. And so I wanted to find out, well, is it just, the women that I'm in community with who aren't very confident or high users of AI the way I am? Or is there something else going on there? And I was shocked by the numbers. I was shocked by the numbers, which led me to this conversation today, building confidence in AI for women. So, what the numbers showed me was that I saw some research out of a university that said that usage rates for women were 21% compared to 79% in men. So AI usage rates were 21% in women compared to 79% usage in men, which was extremely shocking. And I dug deeper and I actually found a Harvard Business Review article that pointed to some research that said on average the gap is about 25% when we think about AI usage between men and women. So depending on where you are and what populations you're surveying, in what rooms you find yourself in, there could be a difference in AI usage. There was one spot that the HBR article pointed out in the tech center on the West Coast in California, in Silicon Valley, where they saw some numbers of women being a little bit higher than men. But that was a very small segment of the population. And that was because these are women who are already participants in tech. My background is in tech. I've worked for a lot of technology companies. So I'm very confident and comfortable with technology and usage of it. Also, I am a business user, business owner. And so I find myself experimenting a lot with tools to help me be more efficient in my business. And that gap, I just didn't want to stay in a bubble. It's so important now and always to be aware of other people's experiences. I want to be aware of the other experiences other women are having who are in leadership, who are in the workforce. And especially if it's different from mine, I want to be there. I want to be there as a support. I want to be there as a listening ear. And I want to learn. I'm a lifelong learner, so I always want to learn. So those are some of the reasons why that led me to want to have this conversation today. The numbers that are there, there's on average a 25% gap in AI usage between men and women, with women being lower than men. And I'm a heavy AI user, and I tend to find myself in community with other women who are. And so I wanted to share some of the knowledge that I've gained over the last 3 years of using different AI tools, and also answer questions and be a resource for people who want to have more confidence in AI. So this conversation might not necessarily be for people who are avid AI users, but I still want you to tune in because there might be ways that you can find yourself as a supportive resource, if that is a way that you want to open yourself up to that. And maybe through this conversation, you might still learn a little something through the tips and practices that I share on ways that we can increase our confidence in using AI. So what does AI stand for? Artificial intelligence. Another way to describe it is machine learning. So what it is, and I'm explaining this in very basic terms. So I'm not trying to please, I can always question me and you can always debate me. I'm totally open for that. But I want to just maybe set the stage for the audience I'm reaching and why I'm explaining terms in these ways. But AI, artificial intelligence, or machine learning, it's a way for people, human beings, to program and create tools and systems to do the work that a human being would do. So it learns pattern recognition so that it can pick up on patterns and give you some output based on some input that you're putting in. So if you give it a prompt or a question or query it, it will give you an output based on lots of data it's already stored within itself that's been placed within it. There are different algorithms that create different kinds of AI tools, and it'll give you an output of what it says, what the average mean is of all the data in there, and an output and answer to what you are asking for. It can do that, or it can be more like an agent. So it can be like a type of person, if you will. So think about ways that AI is used that I don't know if we've been thinking about because it's been in our culture for so long, especially in Western culture, where we might go to a grocery store. Less and less am I seeing cashiers. I'm seeing more kiosks, right? So I'm still doing self-checkout instead of having a person check me out. That's an idea of machine learning and artificial intelligence at play in some ways. Right? So you might see a lot of driverless cars, depending on where you are in the world or in the country. In the US, I'm in the United States, you'll see them more and more, or you might not be exposed to them at very much, maybe only through media and television, but they are out there. So that's a way that artificial intelligence or machine learning, we've taught a machine to do something that a person would have done or would do or could do. So that's what it is. So we've been exposed to AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning for years and years now, but now it's becoming more pervasive. Now it's starting to enter and integrate into a lot of different aspects of our life, if not every aspect of modern life, if not every aspect of the workforce, of the workplace, and different ways that we do our jobs. And I found some other research, LinkedIn research that they come out with every year, an annual survey. And the number one skill that LinkedIn says that organizations, businesses, companies, industry is looking for is AI knowledge, AI literacy. So if you're not going to be an avid AI user, you at least want to be AI literate. You want to understand what it is, know how it affects you in your niche, in your segment of the workforce, and what you do and what you are an expert in, and how it's applied there. You want to be AI literate. And you also want to be AI resilient. And so resilience is so important now because we're called to be resilient because there are so many changes happening all at once. There are so many changes happening all at once. And that can put people into a place of feeling change fatigue. I've seen that term used and it's trending now where people are just fatigued from having to change so much, having to take on so many new ideas, new ways of thinking, operating. There is also an undercurrent of uncertainty that is rampant in society and in culture right now. And people are tired. People are just tired. Me too. I get tired too. So I'm not trying to say I'm not like people. I'm people. I get tired as well. And so I just want to, but I also have a lot of tools. I utilize neuroscience-based tools, NeuroSavvy tools. That's a term that I've trademarked to help myself stay more resilient, to really stay in alignment with my value of being a lifelong learner. So I'm going to always expose myself and share. Sharing here now is a way for me to build up my nervous system resilience, to be questioned, to be wrong, to take a risk, to put myself out there as someone who could speak on this topic. Those are ways that I'm making myself resilient and providing access to others. So those are just some ideas to think about. So I wanted to talk about in very practical terms. That's what makes NeuroSavvy special, is that I don't talk about neuroscience like a neuroscientist would, but I'm in community with neuroscientists. I follow neuroscientists. I read neuroscience literature. I'm reading a book now called How Confidence Works by Ian Robertson. And he is a researcher, and it's a book about the neuroscience of confidence. And as I've been reading that, there are some concepts that I really like the way he talks about them, because it makes it very practical in talking about how our bodies can go into fight or flight, how our bodies can go into a place where we are more resistant and have an away response, where we want to put distance between ourselves and something that we see as a threat. Maybe we see it as a survival threat, particularly in the workforce. There are a lot of headlines out there about AI replacing people, and that is happening at some companies. There's a shrinkage that's happening in the workforce. And so when we feel that shrink, we feel that contraction, it creates a threat state within us. And then it can then really influence our decisions and behaviors. And so when we hear about having to learn about artificial intelligence and having to utilize it in our jobs, in our roles, and make it integrated into our lives, it can create that response for people where I have a toward response, meaning I want to get closer to it. I want to investigate it. I want to look into it. I want to find out more. I want to experiment. I'm highly curious. Others might not have that level of curiosity. They might have more risk that's happening. So those are some neuroscience ways to think about what's happening with individuals on an individual level. And then when you're in community, you have a shared nervous system and experience. So you might be in community. I'll talk about some people that I know in my life who are in the therapy industry. They are in the mental health industry, and they have high concerns about the risks of AI when it comes to privacy, when it comes to PPI, personal information, personally identifiable information, PII, and HIPAA concerns. And they have decided not to use any AI tools at all when it comes to their therapeutic practices. And that's a choice because they have a high threat response when it comes to that. A way that Ian Robertson describes some threat responses that people are having, and I want to address women directly when it comes to AI use. Women tend to have this threat response. They feel like there are ethical concerns that they have. The studies have shown that women feel like the use of AI can feel more like cheating than it does about just bringing who I am and what I know to the table. And so I feel like there's some type of unfair advantage there. Women studied show that higher levels of that than men, which also contributes to the gap. There are just a lack of women in STEM, period. So science, technology, engineering, and math. So that comes into play today when technology is moving so fast and we're being asked to do more and asked to integrate artificial intelligence into our daily work lives and practices. And there's already been a representation gap. So that gap gets exacerbated. And why it's so important that women are included in this conversation is because, like I said, there are data sets that go into making these tools that are then prompted and giving you an output. When there's no perspective from women, when there's no perspective from what people who think differently and who have different experiences, it can create a situation where the output we get might not be well utilized. It might not work best for me in my demographic or in my lived experience. So we want to be a part of the input. We want to be a part of the voices, the thinking, the mindsets that go into building these tools, because they are here to stay. AI is here to stay. The way we see it showing up in our lives is just going to become more advanced and even more pervasive. Studies are showing that, and our culture and society is adapting to that. So when we get into our response, a neuro response that we want to have that would help us be a part of that change in whatever level we choose that feels safest for us, whether it's just being literate, or whether it's building up a resilience tolerance, like I was saying, and being an avid user. There are levels to this, but I would at least want you to consider being AI literate. So having a can happen, can do attitude can help you neurologically. It can help you in your mindset and the way your brain and your nervous system function. Saying this can happen. I can learn how to utilize AI to create more efficiencies in my work, in my niche, in my industry. This can happen. This can happen. I can look for ways that AI is being utilized more ethically, and I can learn those ways, and I can become a utilizer of AI myself. So not only can it happen, I can do it. I can do it. When we think along those lines, a can do can happen, we are operating in confidence. And Ian Robertson describes confidence as the sister to action. So when we are confident, we take actions, we query. Showing up today in this conversation, even being curious about talking about this is really helpful for us to build up our confidence. Yes, Laura asked me, can I say the name of the book again? It's called How Confidence Works. How Confidence Works. That's the book. And I highly recommend it. I'm listening to it on audiobook now. So he has other breakdowns. It's like a quadrant. So some people are in a can't do, can happen. It can happen, but I can't do it. So that activates a threat state. That activates an away response in our nervous systems where we don't align with AI usage and building up the skill and the tolerance to utilize it and being a voice that can be a part of avid positive change for AI usage. We can have a can't happen, can't do it. It can't happen and I can't do it, which also activates our nervous system away from AI usage. So think about AI in the perspective of this is something I can do, and this is something that can happen. And ask yourself questions related to this. So if I was to query and say, okay, I can do AI in some ways, I can find ways to utilize it more. I can find ways to be literate. What are those ways? What's one micro step I can take in that direction? Where can it happen? So if it can't happen, like say if I'm in a therapy practice and I don't want to utilize an AI tool for privacy purposes for the notes that I generate, what's another way that AI could potentially create some efficiency for me in my therapy practice? That's a way to take steps forward and to operate from a can do, can happen mindset, which helps activate dopamine within ourselves. With dopamine is our reward, a part of our reward network. So as we're taking steps forward, as we're researching, as we're trying new things, we're feeling rewarded internally, and it comes outwardly in our behaviors and our actions. Okay, so those are some things to think about, ways to build up your AI confidence, if you will. Also, there are some fears. I want to address the fears again, some other fears that people have about AI replacement. And there are some industries, there are some organizations that are replacing people. They're downsizing, like I was saying, their workforce to utilize more machine learning tools, more technology in that way. And so becoming more AI literate, aligning yourself with organizations and thought leaders who can share with you information about AI that you can know, like, and trust. So these are people you trust. These are people you like. Hopefully, you know, like, and trust me. So you can come to me and ask me questions, and I'll try my best to respond and answer those for you. You can think of, and I encourage you to think about AI as not a replacement, but a way to augment your skill set. Oh, in addition to who you are and how you show up at work and how you show up in rooms, not a replacement for you, but an addition to you. And also another thing to identify that would be helpful to become more confident in AI usage is to identify repetitive tasks, things you do all the time ad nauseum that could potentially be replaced, not replaced, but can be utilized, implemented. You can implement, essentially you could find an AI tool that could replace that repetitive task, but it's not replacing you as the human being, right? It's not replacing you, it's replacing the task. So identifying repetitive tasks that you do in your work life day to day, and finding an AI tool that can replace that. One tool that I've been playing with, I use Canva a lot for I even used it for the design of this NeuroSavvy Live experience. So it's a graphic design tool, and they have a lot of AI add-ons that you can utilize when you have the professional version of Canva. And so one is to create graphs, creating graphs. And so instead of me choosing different elements one at a time, I can type the information in Canva in one of their add-ons, and it can create the graph for me. Graphs that I utilize to show data and to when I do my talks in front of large audiences. That's something that has been repetitive that I can now just use AI for. So that's an example of that. And find very small practical use cases. Make it work well for you. Like I said, you want to activate a sense of reward from utilizing artificial intelligence, not a sense of threat or distance or fear. Okay. Take small steps, set micro goals for yourself. You can leverage AI for efficiency. If it's going to make your job more efficient, utilize it for that. Another way in the transcription industry, I feel like has really been heavily impacted by AI. And so transcribing notes, so utilizing your phone there are lots of different transcription tools that I've tried out, one being Otter AI, and there's others that are out there that transcribe meetings. And so if ethics is a problem for you, you want to make sure that everyone who joins, say, a Zoom call with you knows that you're using Otter AI to transcribe the meeting. You want to ask for consent and make sure they're okay with that over time, because it can be easily turned off. But transcribing your notes and then having them in that way, in written form, in black and white, is very helpful and efficient. So that's a way that AI could be utilized. Just think about ways for you in your job where AI could be a more efficiency play for you that can help create that sense of reward internally, that can help you then make strides forward to feel more confident about utilizing AI. So making sure that you're also following users, thought leaders, organizations that are addressing your concerns. So you might have challenges internally, beliefs, values related to privacy, ethics, and trust. That's why you don't want to venture into learning more and utilizing AI more. So follow thought leaders who are addressing those concerns. AI has a huge impact on our environment as well. So there are environmental impacts from artificial intelligence usage. So identify an organization that is addressing that concern. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on YouTube, the places where you're joining me today to learn about some strategies to build your AI confidence. Now's the time to do that. Now's the time to do that. If you are thinking about AI usage, remember to think about utilizing it as a way to collaborate. It's a collaborator for you. It's not a replacement. It's a way to augment you. It's not going to, at this point, there's no AI tool that replaces human ingenuity, human heart, human spirit. And that is what you bring everywhere you go. When you show up in rooms, both virtually and in person, you bring you. There's research that's shown that when people interact with artificial intelligence, while there are some rewards that we gain, sometimes the output can make you have a gag or a disgust response, or they call it the eye roll response, when you're like rolling your eyes, like it's fake. It's like, where did you get that data from? It's called there's a word where I think of it right now, where AI can have outputs that are just wrong. Hallucinations, that's what they call them. When AI is hallucinating again, and it can make you have that eye roll response, that disgust response, that away response. So you have to be a part of the AI experience. It's not to replace you, it's to utilize as a collaborator. It's to provide a second set of eyes on something, an extra set of ears, an extra perspective, building up your ability to take in multiple perspectives and make the best decision that's in alignment with your goals and your values, that's in alignment with the rules that have been set in place. Some people have some AI resistance because the organizations they work with have put forward rules that have to be followed. So finding ways, what I find that there can be freedom within limitations. So once boundaries are set and communicated, I find freedom in being able to go between those or within those boundaries, to then be creative, to then have fun, to then enjoy the journey and the exploration within the limitations that have been given to me. Also, taking structured courses. I've taken a few on LinkedIn. If you can try LinkedIn Learning or other places that you trust, maybe local colleges that offer courses in AI, I highly recommend doing that. To take courses, LinkedIn Learning or otherwise, even YouTube courses, so many are free. They're just available, that are about helping you become more AI literate. I'm speaking about AI confidence and resiliency more so than literacy here today, but that is included as well, just making you using terms, giving you definitions, giving you ideas on how to build your confidence. It's all building up your capacity for AI in those ways. So also exploring free tools. Canva is free, and they have lots of different AI related add-ons. I described one earlier that you can utilize, and just doing it for fun. Doing it for fun. I've actually given my daughter a Canva account. She's 8, and we are exploring tools together. So that's a really significant way to transform the AI numbers of women who utilize AI, is by exposing younger women, younger girls, to AI, to technology, and having them have fun with it, giving them boundaries to operate within, and then allowing them to be creative and play. Adults don't play enough, in my opinion. So setting aside time to play and learn and explore is very important when it comes to building up your comfort level and your confidence in AI. Remember, you want to feel like I can do this and it can happen, right? You want to feel positively in those two ways to make yourself feel aligned from the inside out when it comes to you utilizing AI as a woman. Another way to become more confident in AI usage is to join a community. Like I said in the beginning of this conversation, and it's so fitting that Laura Kriska joined me, I met her in a consulting community. And that's where I learned about AI and was exposed to several tools that have helped me in my business. And now I'm an avid AI user, and there are lots of different ways that I utilize AI. But they don't replace me. I still show up personally, and do the work that it takes to build relationships, that it takes to get a great impact, to have great business results. That's still me. That's based on my training, who I am, all of my years in corporate America, in corporate roles in product management and marketing, in leadership, and then also with my neuroscience learning and neuro leadership training and consulting. All of that is within me. And then I find ways to channel that utilizing AI tools that can help to make me more efficient, provide me with different perspectives as a thought partner. But then I make the choice. I make the choices that are in alignment with my values, that contributes to the output that I put out there and that my business puts out there. So here's some coaching questions to ask if you want to build up confidence in AI. You want to build up confidence. Think about, what AI tools does my organization already utilize? If you work for an organization, if you work for a company, consider doing a little thought exercise about that and identifying what kinds of AI tools or what type of practices or processes are already augmented by AI today. That might give you some ideas and leeway into what would feel good and safe for you to then learn more about, become more literate within, and try on for size. How can AI support my work? I invite you to think about that question and answer that question if you could. It might not be a fully thought out way or plan for how to use AI in your work, but one way to start is to think about a practical use, something that could help replace or augment a repetitive task. I hear this a lot. I work with a lot of engineers. I do group coaching cohorts where we're helping engineers and all type of people managers, typically people who have moved from being an individual contributor to now a manager of people. Just talk about, in our cohorts, we talk about all of the things that they once used to do that were very task intensive that they can no longer do as a person who now manages and leads people. So think about some of those things that you've probably taken along with you as you've leveled up in your career that need to be let go. This is a task. So is there a way an AI tool can come in and help make this task more efficient and remove it from my plate, in addition to delegating to others and so on and so forth, other types of skills that we learn in leadership? What's one small experiment that you can try with AI? As Laura said in the comments, she uses Canva too. Yeah, for Canva Graph, she hasn't tried that yet. Please do, Laura, and let me know how it works. There are so many different, like I said, AI add-ons in Canva. When it comes to voiceovers, creating videos. Oh, as a communicator, so my master's degree is in strategic communication. So I coach a lot of communicators and communications leaders. And one way that AI is very beneficial is you do the work one time. So say you write a white paper or some type of thought leadership piece, you write that, and then you utilize AI to make it, shape it, and prepare it for lots of different audiences and models and places to place it. So you write it once, and then you turn that article into a podcast. You turn that article into a different message for different parts of the business who might need specific parts of the article to be most efficient, that might pique their interest the most. You pull out the things that would be most essential to those parts of the business. AI can help you do that. So you can then divide and conquer very quickly. You can become a one-to-many. It's a one-to-many model. Do something once and then recreate it in lots of different ways. There are AI tools that can help you do that. There are AI tools that you can put the content within the AI podcast tool, and it'll give you two different human-like voices that will have a podcast conversation about that article. That sounds very familiar, very comfortable, to people talking about the concepts that you put into that article, and then you can put that podcast out there. We talked about transcription uses. There are so many different ways to utilize AI and to become more confident in AI, but it does start with you being willing to experiment, putting yourself in community with other people that you know, like, and trust, having that can do, can happen mindset. It's so important. It's so important. So some organizations that I would recommend looking into, I have partnered with Akina AI. So it's an organization that is building AI with a cultural mindset and perspective in mind. So I'm very happy to be one of the partners and operators on that platform, doing some beta testing with them. So I would ask you to look into that. Look into the book AI Unmasked. The thought leader, she's from MIT. She's thought a lot about AI. This book came out a few years ago, but the information presented in there is still very helpful for today, for ways of us to think about AI and ensure that it's inclusive of all voices, so that we can have outputs that are in alignment with the goals that we've set for ourselves to go as individuals, as organizations, as teams. And AI for all, it expands access to AI education for underrepresented groups. So consider looking into them as well. There are several others, and the Algorithmic Justice League is another one. But I've found so many, and I found them through querying on AI. You'll even notice when you go into Google now, it will give you an artificial intelligence or AI generated answer before you look into your Google results. So if you typed a question into Google about looking for different AI communities or AI thought leaders to follow, it very well may summarize some of those for you and present you with those results before you scroll down and see the other results that come up in the list of results for you to look at. So AI is everywhere. It's pervasive. It's not going anywhere. It's the number one job skill for organizations, for people. People are looking, hiring managers are looking for people who have AI literacy, comfort with AI. I'm in community. I've made it a strategy and a point of my business in 2025 to connect with women AI leaders who have organizations that do work in AI, that do work in cybersecurity. So I'm building my own personal network of women. So iron sharpens iron, right? I'm here talking about helping people become more confident and resilient and literate in AI. And they're doing AI at astronomical levels. So they're like the rocket scientists of AI. And they represent a strong portion of the community that I'm cultivating for myself over time, because I want to be a part of this conversation. I want women to be a part of this conversation. I want us to close the gap. I don't want us to be 25% behind male users. I want us to be in alignment. I want our voices to be heard. I want us to feel strong and confident, and I want us to be experimental. And I want us to do that feeling safe to do that. And the challenges with ethics, the challenges with privacy concerns that you have, I want you to voice those concerns, and I want them to then show up in the results of AI usage. I want them to show up in new AI tools that are put out there, in new ways that organizations are utilizing AI. So that's what I want. That's my dream. That's my hope. That's my mission for today's conversation. And join me every 2 weeks for conversations like this, NeuroSavvy Live. The next time I'll come on for about 30 minutes and talk. Today went kind of long because I'm very passionate about AI, as you can see, and making women feel more confident with AI. But the next NeuroSavvy Live will be April 17th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll continue the conversation about building confidence. So like I said, I'm reading this book about how confidence works. It gives some neuroscience background and evidence-based ways that we can become more confident in general. So I want to dive deeper into that the next time we meet. Thank you for joining me. Please share your questions. DM me if you have questions. I'm always available. You can find me at NeuroSavvy on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. And I can't wait to meet with you again. Let me know how you're utilizing AI and if this talk helped you in any way. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.